I am replacing the Evap core on this 2004 Avalon, and I'm going to give you a general rundown on how to do this. I've already got this all apart, and I've got it to this point here, so I'm going to kind of walk you through how I got to this point. You can see our dash is already out. And this is the state of disrepair that we're in right now. So if you're replacing your Evap core on an Avalon 04-ish, I'm not sure what years that entails, but right here, this has to come out. There's your AC line there, heater core lines over here. It is a gigantic pain in the butt. So I'm not here to try to tell you exactly how to do this. I'm just going to give you some pointers because there's tons of videos out there about Camrys. And like a 2005 to 09 Camry video will get you really dang close. There's a few bolts you can see in here. There's where one of the bolts are. Same over on that side there. But all of this trim comes out easy. There's black plastic trim right in here and up here, and it just snaps out, and that gives you access to all of this stuff. You can take all of these out with some Phillips screws. There's a couple of screws or bolts right down in here on either side. It just takes a long time because to do this, you've got to take out all of the interior. And when I say all of the interior, I don't mean all of it, but all of this stuff is from up there. So just to get the dash out, you've got to take all of the trim off of the center console, this middle piece here. It all just snaps out of place. Inside the armrest here, there's some screws here that hold this plastic trim for this piece in. Take those out along with the trim that goes around it. There's some screws. But once you get those screws out, the rest of this just kind of pulls out. There are some hidden screws in the side. So they go like here, you've got to move the seat front or back to get to there's two on each side. But aside from those, I took the side trim off. You've got to take this pillar trim off right up here on both sides. And then once you get to where you've got, there's bolts on both sides. So there's one up here. There's one down here on both sides. There's one up there and one down here. There's one right above the steering column. But once you get those, you see how there's these little plastic clips right here? The dash literally just pulls out, the plastic part of it. Now, the one gotcha is that all of these plastic vents, like everything's connected. You've got to take all of the clips that hold the wiring harness to the dash off, but then you can pull the whole dash out. And all you've got to do is pull it back. So what I did is I grabbed that top lip. You can see right over there, that top lip. I grabbed onto that and pulled it loose from those clips there. It worked pretty all right. But to replace your evaporator core, you've got to take this entire box off here. So I took the motor assembly out, which sits right here. There's a couple of bolts that hold it in and some screws and a bunch of electrical connections everywhere. And then this guy, if you're replacing your evaporator core, you've got to take the entire assembly apart. So you've got to take it out of the car to do that. So your heater core lines have to come off. Once you get this monstrosity out, there's a bunch of screws that hold it together all the way around the case. And you have to literally separate the entire case in order to replace the evap core on this. Now, one thing that I found is that my TXV valve on this guy was stuck shut. So I've got a TXV valve I'm replacing, plus I've got the core, and then I'm going to do the condenser and everything else. The compressor, I just don't want to have to do anything with this again. It is a long process, and it has taken me probably 5 hours to get to this point just because there's so many tiny screws and bolts. You can see all of this hardware down here that I took out just to get to this point. So be patient. There's a lot of screws and bolts that you've got to take out. If you have done this 100 times, or you're a certified Toyota technician, I'm sure that you could probably get it out, replace the core, and get it back in 7 or 8 hours, but that's not realistic for a normal human being that doesn't do this every single day. Again, hopefully that was helpful. I'm not going to give you, I'm not going to do a whole rundown of this entire thing because don't have time, but it's a pretty basic rundown of how to get everything apart. Good luck. I think you can do it. The 05 to 09 Camry videos show you a lot about how to do this. I couldn't find any videos on an Avalon at all, but hopefully this is helpful. Drive fast, take chances. See you soon. And if you're looking for race car updates, I finally have just about everything I need to get my race car back together. I got the oil pan, pickup, and the dipstick yesterday, and I've got to get this put back together, and then the car, obviously, along with the transmission. Hopefully soon we'll be out doing some testing. Rocky Mountain Race Week is in 30 days.